Okay, y'all. It's time to talk about the little that is the rock. I also like to feel like I'm a news anchor with my little pink microphone, reporting to you live from after the Little Rock Marathon. It's actually been a week since the Little Rock Marathon. But, okay, so essentially, I did not qualify, which I knew that that was very much of an option that I wasn't going to qualify for Boston. But I am going to share how the race went and just some things I learned. It's only my second full marathon. And so I went in wanting to qualify for Boston, which you have to get an 8:01 average pace to qualify in my age group. And I my running app had predicted that I had about anywhere from an 8:10 at my best pace to an 8:30. So I knew realistically I use the Runna app and it's very accurate. So I'm just going to share about just trying to qualify for Boston, some things I learned, and then just how the race was overall. And I would say that even though I didn't qualify and it was actually a very tough race, it was still something I'm so grateful that I get to go out and run and train, and that Jesus has healed me to be well enough and my body to be strong enough. I say that over and over again, but I really cannot thank him enough for what he's done. And it says in Psalms 107 where it talks about how he sent his word and healed them, and then how that they rejoice and proclaim his works. So that's just me continuing to give him praise and glory, that I even get to come on here and say, hey, I finished Little Rock Marathon. But a few lessons learned, reporting live on lessons learned. But okay, so I knew that an 8-minute pace was probably out of reach, but sometimes you have a good race day and you're better trained. Well, one thing, I had gotten a cold about 3 weeks before the race, so I actually took 3 weeks off prior to the race, but I wasn't too worried about that. I was like, it's fine. I also trained for Dallas, so I've been training really since last August, and I took 4 weeks off after Dallas and going into Little Rock's training, which was about 8 weeks of training. So I'll just say my body has been training a lot, and so I'm going to take a break now and probably until Dallas. But so all that to say, I took 3 weeks off before the race. I still was not feeling amazing before the race. Like, I wasn't sick, but my body didn't feel that strong. And, but all that to say, I went into the race with the mentality of, at the end of the day, the Lord is with me. He's given me the strength to even get out here and race. And so I just kind of went in with that expectation of, this is going to be a good race no matter what. And Isaiah 41 talks about, don't be dismayed. I'll hold your right hand. I'll strengthen you. I'll help you. And so, so I started the race, and my plan was for the first 3 to 4 miles, to run an 8:30 as a warm up, which is kind of a fast warm up for me. But it was also kind of cold that day. It was like in the 40s, but not super cold. But all that to say, I warmed up for those first 3 miles. And the way Little Rock is you start in downtown, you run across the Arkansas River, you run about 3 miles, and then you run back across the Arkansas River. So I was going to use that as my warm up. And then the other 23 miles is all in town and kind of in a park. Well, so about mile 3 or 4, I went ahead and took my pace down to like an 8:10-ish. And from mile 3 to 7, I was in that kind of 8:10, 8:15 range, probably sub 8:20 for sure. And I never got below like an 8:07, I think. Like, I just did not have it in me. Even in one of my training runs, I ran an average of an 8:01 for 13 miles. So I knew it was there. I've had an 8:30 pace for like 20 miles before. So it's there, but I could not get, how you warm up and then you can feel your body like kind of fall into a pace. I never had that the whole race. So by mile 7, which is usually one of my stronger miles, I kind of knew in my head, I was like, this is not going well. So from mile 7 to mile 10 to 15, I actually started to have positive splits or negative splits. Basically, I was going slower. So I started to slow down after mile 7. And then by mile 15, which is where the hills, in Little Rock, you have hills from about mile 15 to 19. And it's about twice as much elevation as Dallas. So it's relatively hilly, but not awful. But anyway, mile 15, I saw my family. They were out there cheering me on. And I just knew, like, in my head, I knew it was shot at that point, which is okay. But it was one of those things that by mile 15 and you've got 11 miles left, I knew that I just didn't have it in me. So I actually ended up walking that first hill. And then I think I didn't walk again until about mile 22. So all I had to say, and then by mile 24, I was like freezing. I was having trouble getting fuel in because I was a little bit worried about my stomach. Overall, my stomach was great the whole time, which I give praise to the Lord for that, because used to I would have had stomach problems if I had tried to run. Like, that was one of the reasons I couldn't run, is it would give me stomach trouble. So praise Jesus, I didn't have any stomach trouble. I give him all the glory and praise for that. But so no trouble throughout the whole race, but I was starting to get cold. And one thing is, the morning before the race, I was feeling nauseated, and so I really ate like 2 bites of oatmeal and a little bit of coffee. Like, I really didn't eat much, and I knew that going in. But anyway, all that to say, by mile 24, I could look at my watch, and it was just like my average pace. I was starting to walk after mile like 22. I was starting to walk a lot, like walk and run, and I could just see my average like going down. I was like at a 9 something, and it was just like, but anyway, so I finished the race, and I would say that there were even parts during the race that mentally I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can finish this. I still got 8 miles left. I still got 7 miles left, So I'm grateful that I was able to finish the race. And what I want to say about all that, and what's interesting, is when you look at my time for Dallas and my time for Little Rock. Dallas was a super enjoyable race. I felt strong. I felt good. I had a bit of a knee injury, but I felt great. And that pace was like a 10:53. And then you look at Little Rock, and I was at 10:50. But if you look at all the miles in between, they look so different. Dallas was very, very steady. Krista and I ran real steady. And then Little Rock was like, and it was also physically like not pleasant because I was having to walk, and I never got in that groove. And if you run a lot, you know how that feels. You warm up, and then you actually get stronger as you start to run. Like, maybe not at the end always, but you'll get stronger after that initial warm up. I never had that. And so I think the lesson that I learned, and something my sister had even told me before, was that, you really just go ahead and listen to your body and put your speed at the back end. So like, at least wait till mile 13, probably mile 16, and put your speed there. But the thing is, because the whole reason I registered was to try to qualify for Boston. I kind of was like, well, I know if I don't hit this 8:01 pace relatively early on, eventually like all those slower miles are going to add up and I'm not going to qualify. So I kind of just went for it, and I don't regret that really, but I would say that it probably would have been safer to take about at least maybe 10 miles to warm up and run like an 8:30, and then see if my body could kind of get into a rhythm with the miles. But I think sometimes you can really burn yourself out if you go out too fast, and everybody knows that. But at the same time, it was just a good reminder that even, maybe you need to do a 5-mile warm up that day. Just really I think listen to your body. And that's something that, because I was trying to qualify, I didn't really do, but it still was a great race, and I highly recommend it. They did a great job. One thing I really liked about Little Rock is they have a lot of mile markers. And Dallas, maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I just don't remember that many mile markers. But starting definitely by mile like 19 or so, they have mile markers, pretty much mile flags every single time. And my watch, I loved it. But because I ended up running like a 4-hour, 20-minute marathon, and I was hoping to run a 3-hour 30, it died. So Apple, I don't have it on, but an Apple Watch is great. It's just like, if you're going to run a slowerish marathon, maybe it's going to die on you. So you need to be like sub 4 to keep your Apple Watch alive. It died at mile 25 on me. But yeah, it was good. And I think that likely I might try to qualify at Dallas this December. But for now, I'm just going to rest and go back into just doing 5Ks and enjoying it. And I still just give God the glory that I get to train. And I know that at the right time, and Lord willing, I will still qualify for Boston. It just wasn't that time, but I did learn a lot. And I think that it's just good to understand and to get marathons under your belt, and then you kind of feel more prepared when you are, when everything is set and your body is ready and it all kind of aligns. Then I think that, because I would say that I have so much respect for people who have qualified for Boston, because it is not easy, and there's a reason why. It's a goal, because running an 8:01 marathon with hills, with you got to wake up that morning, and regardless how you feel, regardless of if you've been sick 2 weeks before, it doesn't matter. You've got to be on point that day. It's not easy. So I put respect on the people that are going and got qualified for Boston. And Lord willing, one of these days I will get to say that is me. But I just wanted to share how it went. So we didn't qualify, but that's okay. We're going to go rest now and eat bagels and hamburgers. So